I was 5,000 calories deep by midnight. I told myself I'd stop after one more crisp. But then came the chocolate, the ice cream, the leftover wings. I wasn't even hungry. I was ashamed. But the worst part, I was meant to be the guy who had it all figured out. Now, why should you listen to me? I've lost weight multiple times, I've built a lean aesthetic physique, and I've been training since I was 13 years old. Now I'm 26 and I help brown guys who are tired of being skinny, fat and stuck finally build the bodies that they want. And the key message I want you to take from this video is binge eating isn't a discipline issue, it's a system issue. In this video, I'll teach you about the lessons and the teaching framework about binge eating. Now, the first one is understand your trigger. Binging for most people usually starts with restriction, and that could be carbohydrates, that could be even starving yourself all day. The body will fight back. The body's not dumb. And the most important thing in order to counter all of this is to eat satiating foods or to eat low calorie, high volume foods. Now, what do I mean by eat satiating foods? I mean, typically satiating foods are high protein foods or eat a lot of protein. So chicken, steaks, eggs, salmon, even nuts. If you're someone who likes a lot of nuts, eat those kind of foods because typically the more protein you eat, the more satiated you'll be. Or you can go the low calorie, high volume food. And what I mean by that is like salads. Typically I only know salads because I'm not, I don't really try a lot of different foods. But salads is something that I know you can eat a lot of and the calories are just very low. You can eat like 100, 200 calories of salad and the actual portion of food will be like 2 or 3 bowls of salad. And that in itself will keep you full. And if you pair that with having a lot of protein, then the likelihood of you binging out on something which you don't really want to eat, but because it's there, it's your trigger, will be very low because you'll just be so full. You'll just be so full. Like the amount of people that binge out, even though they're full, is very, very less. It might even be zero because you don't have that feeling. You don't have that feeling. And environment is king. Environment is very, very important. Well, the way I think of it is if it's in your cupboard, if it's in your drawers, very likely it will be in your mouth. So stop buying these foods you can't control if you have no willpower. And there's another solution is you can start to train your willpower. And you can do this by doing one simple trick. Put your most beloved thing to drink or eat in front of you where you spend the most time and simply resist the temptation of eating and drinking it. Now do this for a couple of days. Stare at the food, the drink, whatever. Tell yourself that this little piece of food, it will not control you. It cannot control you. I can give a practical example of something that I can do. I really like having chocolate, right? Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, whatever it might be. If I did not have the urge to basically control myself, I would put it on my desk. I'm at my desk pretty much all day, every day, right? I would put it there and I would just literally leave it there. I'd leave it in plain sight where I would always see it, where I would always have that temptation to kind of eat it. And I just would not eat it. And also, it might take you a few days, maybe a week for you to basically master that control, master that urge over it. But as soon as you do that, you'll open a whole new level of self-control. The next one is stop moralizing food. And if you think to yourself, you know what, you failed after one cheat can lead to an all or nothing spiral. So don't do that. If you've eaten something which you know what, I shouldn't have eaten this, I shouldn't have eaten that. Accept it and move on about your day. If you have like a piece of chocolate, you have some crisp, you have something that you should not have had, then simply just think to yourself, you know what, I ate it. It is what it is, right? Kind of move on. Don't think to yourself, don't start doing these subhuman habits, these destructive habits where you're like, you know what, I've slipped up once this day, let me start doing everything I've ever wanted to eat for like the past few weeks, past few months, past few days. Because then what happens is, especially if you're someone who's only done it for a few days, maybe even a week, what will happen is you lose that momentum and it's very hard to recapture that momentum. Because I know I'm speaking from experience, boys. When I used to just binge out and eat whatever I wanted to eat, it would take me like maybe 4, 5, maybe even a week to get back that momentum I had. So don't do that. Don't think it's all or nothing. Because a lot of people, these self-destructive habits, they become like subhuman levels and then they just start eating obscene amounts of junk food. Now, if you want to have some chocolate or something like that, then just have it, but kind of don't spiral out of control. Don't become a nutty geezer, is what I'm trying to say. The next one is, boys, you want to build reward-based habits. Like, you're not addicted to eating food. Well, I hope you're not. You're addicted to that dopamine spike. The flavor that you get from the sweets hitting your tongue is just too strong for you to resist. And it's too strong for you to resist the urge and throw away all the progress you're making. Now, if you're at that level of subhuman, like you just absolutely need the sweets or that flavor hitting your tongue, then what you can do is you can have a more natural alternative. Like start having more fruits, because fruits have that sweet that sweetness that you want, and they're also good for you as well. So the most sweetest things you can have in terms of fruits is 100% dates. I love having dates. I have dates with ghee all the time. So you can have dates. I also have bananas. I also love grapes. Kiwis are good as well. Kiwis have a lot of vitamin C, and hell, even oranges. All of them you can have, and they will all satiate that sugar craving that you're after. But what you get, it's with none of the guilt. So start getting your dopamine spikes from actual real things, from for example, from training wins, from ticking off habit checklists, from getting a good night's sleep, from seeing your physique come together in progress pictures. You don't need to, be getting your dopamine spike from having sweets and chocolate, because at the end of the day, if you think to yourself, you know what, I need to have this, then that's how you wire your brain. You need to have this. Or a lot of people, they think, you know what, I've stuck to my diet for 2 days, and they think to yourself, you know what, I'm being good, I need something, I deserve this, or I can have this. You're not a dog. You don't treat yourself like a dog. When a dog does something good, you give it a little, I don't know, a little treat, a little chocolate or whatever. You're not a dog. End of the day, you're not a dog. Build reward-based habits based on actual things that you're trying to achieve. So training, sleeping, eating well, losing weight, gaining muscle, seeing your physique come together. Those are real things, sustainable things. And the thing is, those are like actual visible things. So what will happen is, say you start piling up them wins, right? You get momentum in related to those kind of wins. What would happen is, even if you do get that urge to kind of have or binge out on whatever you like to eat, you'll think to yourself, you know what, I don't want to eat this because I've got this great momentum going. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. My skin's good. My hormones good. My testosterone, everything. I've got a lot of energy. You just will not want to sacrifice everything that you've done just for a few seconds of eating some kind of rubbish. So yeah, building reward-based habits long term. That's the plan. And the last thing, which can, I wouldn't say cause you to binge out, but you need to make sure your insulin is working, your insulin is not resistant. Because if your insulin is defective and your insulin resistant, or your insulin is even too high, your hunger signaling might be off. And you cannot go from meal to meal without snacking and grazing. And the bad thing about snacking is it's like a gateway. You can be eating really clean, right, within your caloric allowance. But snacking and grazing can leave you in a vulnerable position, because you can very, very easily overeat. Now, I would eat 2 meals a day, and what I would recommend is having like an optional protein shake in between the 2 meals. So say you start doing intermittent fasting like I teach, and you start your first meal of the day is at 12 p.m. or whatever time your meal is, right? I would say 2 p.m. because that's just what I do. 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., that's when I have my meals. And then say in between them 6 hours, I want to have something. I would probably have a protein shake, because I know exactly what's going in my protein shake. I would have some kind of milk, some raw milk, or some like clean milk. Then I would have the protein powder. I'll probably have some fruit. I'll probably add some creatine, and that's it. I know what's in my protein shake. Now, if I start grazing on cereal, I don't know what's in that cereal, and I can't quantify how much cereal I've had unless I actually go out and weigh the cereal and whatnot. And I don't want to do that, because I always add a little bit more. Cereal is not really a food anyways. Cereal, biscuits, croissants, tea cakes, scones. In the UK, people love having stuff like that. So, but I wouldn't really. I've not really been a big fan of that ever. If you want something healthy and you want some kind of like bread or something, I would always go with sourdough bread with avocado and egg. Is actually amazing, boys. Amazing cuisine, amazing eats. I put it on my my Instagram story. I've been having it quite a bit recently. But insulin is a big problem, because your blood sugars and everything will completely be unregulated, and insulin resistance will keep you in fat storage mode. It will 100% keep you in fat storage mode. And the thing with that is it'll be very, very difficult for you to even lose weight once you're in fat storage mode. Because I remember when my insulin was messed up, what would happen was I would be eating the same amount of food that I've always been eating, but for some reason I would just put on weight. But then once I would fix what I was eating, fix my insulin resistance, I wouldn't eat that much. I would lower my carbohydrates, so the insulin spike during each meal would be lower, right? And what that would do is eventually over time my insulin resistance would become regulated, and I would basically be able to lose weight. But the night and day difference when your insulin is working perfectly fine and when it's a bit off is night and day, because you have more energy, you lose weight first and foremost, your weight's more stable. Let's just say that, because a lot of times when your insulin is a bit off, and your diet is not perfect, you'll gain weight very, very quickly. Even if it's water weight, you'll gain weight very, very quickly, because I think your insulin also affects your sodium potassium pump, and that's how much water you retain too. I would stop snacking. I would lower my carbohydrates. Even if you can't do it long term, I would lower my carbohydrates for maybe even like 1, 2, 3 days. And it'll make a massive difference because you lose a lot of weight first and foremost. Your insulin will start regulating itself. You'll just feel a lot better, you have more energy. Your energy levels will be stable rather than going up, coming down, going up, going down. Because if you have a high carbohydrate rich meal, right, what happens is your insulin will spike. And especially if you're someone who has low protein, your insulin level spikes, you have that surge of energy, and by midday, you probably notice if you're someone who just has normal meals right now, carbohydrate rich meals, your energy level will just slump at lunchtime or whenever you eat. Your energy levels will just hit the deck, and you'll probably feel like, you know what, I can't do anything now. I need I need a rest. I need a sleep. Which is the main reason for that is it's not because you're old or anything like that. It's simply because you're not eating the right meal. You're not eating the right kind of foods. And yeah, insulin is a big difference, man. Insulin is a big difference. It will make a big difference to how much you feel like binge eating, and of course, you'll drop a ton of fat as well. Now, this is the exact stuff I teach in my Elite Body Blueprint, in my free school community as well. So if you want me to personally coach you through it, I only take on 10 guys a month at this moment. So join my free school community and send me a message that you want one-to-one coaching with myself. Or you can even book a call with me through the link in my school community. So join that, boys. The link will be in the description below, the first one. Click on that. Thank you.